Good afternoon, it's 12:26. I'm JT Lemiski with 6:30 CHED News. Traffic and weather together under the mix of sun and cloud, 19 degrees, forecast high 20. This news brought to you by the low prices of Pioneer Chrysler Jeep in Wetaskiwin. We're different here. In traffic is photo radar on 137th Ave at 132nd Street. Environment Canada is warning of a jump in the number of tornadoes if global warming trends continue. The southern prairies are increasingly seeing higher humidity and hotter temperatures, which are just the right ingredients for a tornado. Environment Canada meteorologist David Etkin tells that unpredictable wind patterns can play a big part in the role of tornado formation. Even though it's nearly impossible to predict how many more tornadoes will touch down, Etkin says one thing is certain: our children's children are definitely going to live in a different world. A brutal home invasion in Saskatoon early this morning has left 3 people injured and a house completely trashed. Police say around 2:45 this morning, 6 men showed up at a West End home armed with baseball bats. They shattered all the windows and entered the house. Then they smashed all the furniture and walls before turning the bats on the 3 occupants of the house. 2 men and a woman are in hospital with one of the victims in serious condition. Police say the victims knew their attackers. 2 people have been sent to hospital and 1 person remains trapped after a highway overpass collapsed in Laval, Quebec today. A large span of the overpass crashed down across several lanes of Highway 15 late this morning, trapping 1 vehicle. Police say the first victim was quickly removed from the vehicle and taken to hospital with serious leg and hip injuries. The second occupant, who was also seriously injured, took longer to reach because the vehicle was under concrete that was hard to clear. Another adult remains trapped and is believed to be unconscious. Other vehicles swerved to avoid being hit. Police in Ohio say a teenager has admitted to causing a fire that killed 3 children. Their mother was critically hurt in a blaze yesterday in Columbus duplex. A computer malfunction in Britain's air traffic control system that has stranded thousands of vacationers is in its 2nd day.
Again, isn't the only thing getting travelers hot under the collar. A computer glitch in the country's air traffic control system has forced the cancellation of dozens of flights, leaving passengers stranded and frustrated. Many claim that the airlines have not kept them properly informed.
It's just hanging on forever, nobody seems to know quite what's happening.
All of the country's major airports have been hit, with Gatwick and Heathrow the worst affected. National Air Traffic Control Services said it was repairing the malfunction and promised a thorough investigation to find out what went wrong. Stephanie Baum, London.
6:30 CHED Sports on tap locally this afternoon. The TELUS Edmonton Open down at the Derrick. Of course, PCL action between the Trappers and Golden Spikes. Game time 2:05 down at the booth. 6:30 CHED guaranteed weather, sun and cloud right through the afternoon, a high of 20. Right now, it's 19. Your next news at 1. I'm JT Lemiski for 6:30 CHED News.
Hey, it's Heidi Glazing with the 6:30 CHED Street Team from Pioneer Chrysler Jeep Wetaskiwin, Suntech Custom Enclosures, and TELUS Mobility. The whistles are blowing from every direction here at the NBA Hoop It Up as we get closer to finding out who Edmonton's elite Hoop It Up team will be. I'm amazed at how many people are here and having a great time. All ages from the kids to grandma and grandpa are out here shooting hoops or just relaxing in the sun, cheering on the players. There's food, games, but not a lot of parking, so be prepared. I'm Heidi Glazing with the 6:30 CHED Street Team at the NBA Hoop It Up, expected to wrap up around 5 this afternoon.
This special Father's Day edition of One Family at a Time has been pre-recorded. Please do not call in. Here's your host, Lori Runzer, on 6:30 CHED.
This past week, I've had opportunity to be out of town and doing some work with a whole community that is very much working towards bringing life and bringing just a whole dynamic back together, and that is really in the development of a homecoming. When I listened to Martha Wessel talk about her first visions for creating a homecoming and bringing people home in the year 2000, it was exciting to see the sparkle in her eye and to see the amount of commitment that was in her heart and just the willingness to go out and to do the work. When I look at your book, I think of what that would take in terms of being able to make a decision, to have a vision of collecting stories and to putting things together, and to then be willing to go out and to do the work. You were telling me that at some of these events that the people are actually using your book as a way to trigger memories and to bring stories back up. How is that working?
It's working very well, and when you say events, anyone I talk to about the book and about how important it is to collect those memories and record them before it's too late. Their interest is piqued because at some level, it deals with their emotions also. It triggers emotions. And I start mentioning some of the questions that are in the book. For instance, what values do you admire in a friend? If you think about your friendships and that, are you generous with your time for friends? Or do they have to make appointments for your time? Now, how many people are in that category that they're just not taking that time out? They email each other, and it's just at a superficial level. Again, if you can get together with your friends and just talk about each other, and a lot of people are hurting and in a lot of pain. We're in a society right now, and look at, if you even watch Oprah's shows, what is she talking about? Spirit, and the children, the youth of today are so troubled, and everything that she's talking about is what I'm trying to, quote, fix also in my own way.
Or address.
And address it, and to encourage people. But again, if you can sit down with your boys and girls and go through some of these questions when you talk about group participation right within your family.
So instead of going to a homecoming and having them say, so what's up?
That's right.
Where do they start? They could have been away for 40 years. How do they get started again?
Yes, I mean, reunions are a perfect time. I mean, there's an idea that you use the book and just connect with people. Say, look, take this book home. Let's just talk about this. Let's write about this reunion. All the thoughts that have developed for let's say it's for a weekend reunion. You can take a tape recorder, a videotape. You can decide ahead of time what questions you would like to talk to people about, and have their pictures, have their comments, and what a wonderful legacy to have for future generations. Really.
I'll have to mention that to Mrs. Wessel. I think she would be very interested just to even hear how that's being used and how to facilitate and create more conversation at a deeper level. That it's not just let's get together and compare lives. Because that's not really what it's about. It's about coming home and reliving memories and seeing the old school and seeing the changes and seeing the community and taking time to see the people.
And when you're at a reunion, you do talk about the past, you know, it's about certain specific people, but yes, you can talk about it, but unless you record it, it can be forgotten. I mean, that's what the problem is in society now, that we're just not paying attention. You may say, yes, this has happened, and just surf over what's really important. But you know what happens as we age, it's, and at my point in life even, it's just, we have a thirst for that knowledge. Very much so. And you know what happens too, again, is people die, family members.
I was going to say, the mortality is a reality. We're now looking at the fact that as we grow and as we mature, we come into a season of our life where we are seeing people that are starting to pass on and starting to leave stories untold.
For sure.
To die with their dreams within them.
Yes, and I mean, you look at people that are in nursing homes, that are in the hospital, and how many families go and visit, and they bring them the flowers and that, and they sit and they don't know what to talk about now. What an opportunity there also just to sit and say, you know, let's talk a little bit about some of your life, and it gets their mind off their own problems also, and they feel that somebody cares about them.
Well, as an occupational therapist, that's absolutely what we used to do, is empower and validate them by taking time and interest in their lives and in their stories. And in many cases, we were the only ones who were willing to listen to it again. Sometimes the families have gotten tired of the same story presented over and over, but by having different questions, we sometimes can trigger different memories.
Certainly, and I mean, you take the family as a structure. They go in and visit a grandparent in a hospital. Well, the children can take a question if it's a grandparent and say, well, Grandma, what did you do as a child? What did you wear? And tell me about your school. And, they'll respond to that for sure.
Oh, I'm sure they'll be excited at the thought of uniforms and everybody wearing matching clothes. Or to hear that nobody had Nikes.
Oh, well, that's right. In a day where the only 28-inch screen, it wasn't a television, it was a screen door.
And now look at the size of the computer screens that we have out there.
It's amazing, and then they can share both their experiences. And
so are there questions in the book about the old and the new and kind of getting people to kind of think back to the way it used to be compared to the way it is? And is there some comparative type questions, or are they all just what was it?
No, it's not just the past. There's current areas also, and an area, let's say, from memory joggers that is there, that if you can't think, you have difficulty thinking about some areas of the past. Now you appeal to the senses, the sounds, smells, tastes. Now I'm sure that you could remember a story yourself about burning leaves or preserves, your mother doing preserves in the past, or a train whistle, Christmas carols and singing. Just all of a sudden the memories flow out when you think of, in all these areas, birds in the springtime.
Oh, I love that.
To the lake. There's just hundreds of memory joggers like that there alone is a wealth of information and stories that you can do.
Absolutely. And when we start getting collectively groups of people looking and collecting groups of memories, as in a homecoming or a reunion, what an incredible amount of information that will be collected over just a short, brief period of time. It really is amazing what can happen in that short weekend.
And what I've included in the computer version also is that you can do a letter to your family, telling them about your feelings. Not always just collecting memories, but just telling them, for instance, your feelings towards the family, why you feel this way, your feelings about your position in your family, how your family members have treated you, what you appreciate about your family, your regrets in life, your sorrows, your joys, and what you feel maybe that you have achieved in life. And I think that's an important area also. A letter to your mate.
Might be the first time they've communicated in a while.
That's right. That's right. Sure. And then you can read it to each other, or else you can leave it. You don't even have to keep it if you don't want to. Even it's therapy, just even to write it down. And get that insight of life. And a letter even to yourself. What your feelings about yourself, why you feel this way.
Well, when I think about what we can do with just those two questions, it excites me. And so when we come back, I think you and I should try to address those last two questions and just let people see what we're talking about. We're going to invite you to stay with us. This is Lori Runzer on One Family at a Time, right here on 630 CHED.
630.